We just received shocking breaking news. Nebraska has fired first-year defensive line coach Terry Bradden effective immediately. So in today's video, I'm going to give you my instant reaction. Why did this happen? What's been going on behind the scenes leading up to this moment? Is this a good thing, a bad thing? Where do we go from here? And everything else you need to know. So really quick, this is big-time breaking news. Hit that like button if you're fired up. And also, this is the only channel on Nebraska YouTube that posts breaking news just like this, talking coaching carousel, talking recruiting, talking the transfer portal. If you want to stay in tune with the Huskers this offseason, it's no brainer. Take 2 seconds. Join the family. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. It was just announced that Nebraska has fired first-year defensive line coach Terry Bradden effective immediately. He is no longer employed by the Huskers. And right off the bat, I can't believe it. This is something we've been calling for over these past couple months, over these past couple weeks, because simply put, the defensive line performance this year was unacceptable. It wasn't even close to acceptable. It was one of the worst showings we've ever seen in the history of Nebraska football. Seriously, name a worse defensive line than what we saw in 2025 in a crucial year 3. According to every single metric, every single stat, from the film, from the development, it fell short of every expectation. You start with the stats. We were the worst in pretty much every single category. Getting to the quarterback, sacks, pressure rate, stopping the run. When you go over to development, a lot of young players we felt good about going to the season, like Keona Davis, like, Elijah Judy, a Riley Van Poppel, a Cameron Ledhard. Not only did those players not take steps forward, they took steps back. So the defensive line not only was bad from a statistics standpoint, but also from a development standpoint. Now, Terry Bradden, he's only here for 1 year. There's not much he can do, but granted, in modern day college football, you don't get much time, especially in year 3 of a Matt Rhule rebuild, a crucial year 3. Where Matt Rhule talked about all offseason how we're winning 10 games, how we're making the playoffs, this, down, and third. We weren't even close, and that's thanks to the defensive line. Okay, that's the reason why the defense was that bad. Wasn't because of the secondary. The secondary was actually pretty good. Wasn't because of the linebacker play. It's because their defensive line was historically awful. Okay, and Terry Bradden, at the time, it looked like a good hire. He was coming in from the Kansas City Chiefs. He was assistant defensive line coach over there. He had multiple Super Bowl trophies. Everybody's like, oh my goodness, he's so experienced. Well, no, because he's never been a full-on defensive line coach before. And clearly when he got to Lincoln, he was in over his head because he couldn't develop, he couldn't make adjustments. We had a couple players who were on the bench all season who were actually some of our better defensive linemen, like Jalen George, like Gabe Moore. They weren't perfect by any means, but they were certainly better than some of the other players who were out there. And it also should be noted the step back that we took from last season to this year. Last year, we had a pretty good defensive line. It wasn't top 10, but it was pretty solid. I'd say it was great. I'd say it was a great defensive line last year. It went from great to the worst in the history of the program in 1 year. We only lost 3 notable players. And again, I'll give these 3 players credit, but a defensive line, if you only lose 3 players, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Okay, SEC programs lose 3 defensive linemen of note every single year, and they're fine. Same with other Big Ten programs. Nebraska lost 3, and it went to crap. Okay, Ty Robinson, simply put, again, everybody talks about him like he was one of the greatest of all time. He was a 4th-round pick. He didn't earn any All-Big Ten selection. He was not an All-American. Okay, he didn't have over 7 sacks. So again, Ty Robinson was a really good player, but he wasn't Sue, right? Nash, he was fine, but he wouldn't start at a bunch of big-time, top 10 programs. Again, he was a great player, but he was an undrafted free agent. Jamari Butler, I was super behind him, but he transferred to LSU, and he was a complete bust. So again, you lose 3 players, it goes from great to worse in the history of the program. That doesn't fall on the talent, it falls on the coach. Because we have talent. We have guys who are big-time transfers, big-time recruits coming to high school, and this man just couldn't bring the best out of them. And again, there's just no time for complacency. Okay, maybe if it was Matt Rhule's first year here, we could go through the experiment of Terry Bradden, but it's not. Okay, it's win or else Matt Rhule's head might be in the platter. And honestly, you want to know the worst part about Terry Bradden, in my opinion, and this is by far the worst part, and this is something we've talked about even before a game was played. Terry Bradden could never recruit. He did not know how to recruit. Okay, he was only here for about 10 months, but he landed 0 defensive line commits. It was imperative not only we landed 1, we should have landed probably 3 in the class of 26. Again, when the defensive line is that bad, you need to rebuild it through the portal and through high school recruiting. We landed 0, and it's not like we tried. We tried. Okay, we tried to get Tyne Davis. We tried to get Mekhi Blade. We tried to get Hunter Higgins. We tried to get Valdon Sony. We tried to get multiple players at the very last second, and we failed on all of them. I've never seen anything like it. It was levels of incompetency that need to be studied. So that falls on Terry Bradden, failing to build those relationships. And again, I think Terry Bradden's a fine guy. Like, I'm not trying to call him out personally. Okay, this is a business, right? This is coaching. And coaching is very public. So when you're a good coach and you're doing a great job, you deserve the public praise. But when you're a coach and you're objectively not doing a very good job, you deserve to be called out for it. And if you don't like that, you should not have gotten the business. You're getting paid a lot of money anyways to begin with. So listen, we have high expectations. This is Nebraska football. This is the black shirt defense. You can't come in here and not develop, not recruit, not make adjustments, be in charge of the worst defensive line in the history of the program and just be unscathed and say, oh, it's only year one. I mean, what do you think is going to happen next year? It's going to be just as bad probably, no matter who you brought in through the transfer portal. So people will say, oh, maybe this is a loss. This isn't a loss. This is honestly the worst coach on our staff. I was defending Donovan Raiola a little bit because Donnie's a good recruiter and some people even like Donnie. I mean, come on. Terry wasn't even a good recruiter. There's nothing he did. There's no boxes he checked. So this was a no-brainer move by Matt Rhule. And again, very similar to the Donovan Raiola situation, they've been moving quickly. They've been searching for some names behind the scenes. Again, there's some rumors around Elijah Robinson. There's some rumors around some other guys that Nebraska has been interviewing. So I expect something to happen very soon, if not already happened by the time of releasing this video. But again, Nebraska's moving quickly here. But again, I appreciate this. And I'll say this about Matt Rhule. Again, Matt Rhule objectively has made some pretty bad hires since he got to Nebraska. I mean, objectively, he has. Objectively. Okay, he made a reach on John Butler. He made a reach keeping Donovan Raiola on the staff. He definitely made a reach on Terry Brain. But at least this year, Matt Rhule says, you know what? I'm not going to be back into a corner. I'm going to make the move necessary to have this football team win in year 4. And I'm going to fire John Butler. I'm going to fire Terry Brain. I'm going to fire Donnie. So kudos to him for making the tough decision. Kudos to him for making this, again, the big boy decision that we haven't previously seen. Okay. I am very impressed with Matt Rhule right now. I am. So that being said, who do we need in our future defensive line coach? That's where we go from here. Who do we need? Okay, what are the ideals that we need to find in our future defensive line coach? Because you win in the Big Ten through the trenches. You win in the Big Ten by stopping the run. Number one, I need somebody who preaches size over finesse. Okay, you need size. And the problem with Terry Brain, I forgot to mention this, the second Terry Brain got to Lincoln, you know what he did? He told multiple Nebraska defensive linemen to lose weight. Elijah Judy lost weight. He went from 310 pounds, he was instructed to go down to 295. He was our zero tech this year. Having a zero tech at 295 is absolutely egregious. I mean, Terry Brain should be prosecuted for that decision alone. That was awful. Riley Van Poppel lost weight. Cameron Lenhart lost weight because Terry Brain is all over finesse over size. That doesn't work in the Big Ten. That might work in the NFL, okay, where everybody's naturally gifted and already super muscular to begin with. But it does not work in the Big Ten. You need size. Okay, your zero techniques, your nose tackles, they should be at the very minimum 310 pounds. At the very minimum. Your 3 techniques should be at the very minimum 300. Your 5 techs should be about 280, and so on. We were undersized, we were small, and you know what's funny? You think that because we were undersized, we showed a little bit more, we showed more agility, we were a little bit quicker. We weren't quick at all. We weren't even athletically gifted. So our defensive line was not only small, but it was slow. That's an awful combination. That's the reason why it was that bad. So I still like to say this. Our future defensive line coach, I need somebody who preaches size, who knows how to stop the run. And it starts in the interior. I need somebody who knows how to preach interior defensive line play. Okay, nose tackles and so on. It starts from the interior, not the exterior. It starts from the interior, inside the tackles, inside the guards. I need somebody who is a player's coach, who's a leader of men, okay, but also these players love. Okay, not somebody who's a hothead, maybe like a Donnie Raiola, but somebody who, again, the players want to play for, the recruits want to play for. I want somebody who's a great recruiter. I always need that. Okay, you need to recruit well on the defensive line. Simply put, you cannot get low 3 stars. Okay, you need people who have high upsides, who can potentially play year 1, year 2. Okay, especially in the Big Ten. If you get 3 stars in the Big Ten, again, it works for schools like Iowa maybe a little bit. But Iowa can develop. We really haven't had the history of developing. So let's get some big-time recruits. We need a great recruiter. And once again, per usual, we need someone with experience and who's in the pursuit of excellence. Okay? Who's not complacent. Now, I'm not going to say Terry Brain was complacent, but he just wasn't the man for the job. He was in over his head. And I'm proud of Matt Rhule for making that decision today. So again, we'll see who we hire. Again, it might be announced by the time we release this. You never know. Spoiler, I'm recording this in advance because I got a tip this is going to happen. But again, I'm proud of it. Again, we've been calling for this on the channel. I wish Terry Bradden the best of luck. Nothing personal, but this is the business. I'm sure he's going to land his feet probably back in the NFL. Good luck. And anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. Hey, if you made this far, let me know who we should hire, what you're looking for, what your ideals are. Make sure to subscribe for more content just like this. As always, folks, go Met RHULE, and I'll see you in the next one.